David, you and I had talked about your brother being such a source of inspiration for you, physically not fitting in, and how you use that to metaphorically not fit in because he's such a big guy and navigating things. And it was at a very crowded room, and I remember you like physically bumping into someone, and I saw Clark Kent, and then I saw Superman in the conversation. It was a really beautiful, transformative moment of just you embodying your brother even in the conversation. And I've been wondering since, have you talked to your brother about Big Blue, and what's it been like to have that talk now that you're wrapped on playing a version that involved him?
Yeah, well, so my brother-in-law, Tim, I didn't have a brother growing up. I have an older sister who I'm very close with, and luckily she picked the best brother-in-law I could have asked for. We're now very close. He was my gym buddy when I was training for Superman, and he's 6'8" and now 270 pounds. So when he...
Shrimp.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Gives the greatest hugs. Because, you know,
You give good hugs.
Well, thanks. I mean, this was actually one of our first conversations when our first bonding things was just talking about hugging each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, well, my wife was telling me, she was like, I'm like a fairly big person.
Yeah.
And she was like, you're big, no one really gets to hold you. And I was like, no. And then she goes, David could probably hold you. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to ask him. And I did. And he held me very kindly, and I felt safe.
Yeah. Well, because it is rare when you're 6'4", as we both are, or somewhere close to 6'4", depending on the shoes. That was one disagreement we had on set. He got bigger lifts than I did in my boots. So
No lifts, just regular shoes. There was no lifts. There was always this thing where he'd be like, "Oh, what's in your shoe?" There's lifts, and I was like, "This is a normal shoe."
But having a brother-in-law who's bigger than I am, he's a very comforting presence to have around, and it's a rare thing when you're a big guy to have somebody who's bigger than you. And so anytime he walks into a room, it's very hard not to notice him. But when he introduces himself, it's, hey, I'm Tim. Mm-hmm. And he's very polite, and he doesn't like to intrude, and he doesn't want to interrupt anybody. And he likes to not be in the way. But he's sort of always in the way just because he's so big. So I took that idea, and also just everybody feels such affection for him and sort of wants him to take up more space, take up the space that he does. So I took that idea of Clark Kent should be lovable, but should have that thing of like, yeah, you always manage to be in the way, but also you're trying not to be. But if you would just try not to be a little less, you might actually be in the way a little less. I said this somewhere in an article that was published, and he saw it, and I apologized to him because he's also very, he's a shy guy. He doesn't like to be the center of attention. And
sorry, Tim.
But I think he's forgiven me.